All right, welcome guys. We have 11 NBA games to talk about. This one's going to be a mess. We're still waiting on a good amount of news. April, NBA, 11 games, a lot of guys questionable. Should be fun. So if you guys are new to the channel, how this works, we'll take a look at what we know so far, review the Vegas odds, and go team by team, talk about players I like, and get to questions at the end. So we'll start with the 76ers, and right now everyone is currently questionable, so not a lot to say at the moment. We did just get some Mavs news. We'll talk about that in a sec. Sexton is still out. Russ Westbrook was questionable, but now out. Robin Lopez is out. I think that makes Daniel Gafford a pretty appealing value play. Let's see. Jay Crowder out. Gary Trent Jr. out. Sarge out. Nance out. Dellavedova out. Hardenstein out. Lamar Stevens out. Let's see. What else do we got? Again, Ben Simmons expected to play, but still game time decision. Lou Williams out. Some of the Boston guys out for tomorrow. Again, Embiid, Simmons, Tobias, Danny Green, Korkmaz, all game time decisions. Ennis, Ross out. Westbrook in. Again, Lopez out. Josh Jackson out. Luka in. Porzingis doubtful. Jordan Finney-Smith probable. Jay Rich doubtful. J.J. Redick doubtful. Chris Dunn in, but on a minutes limit. AD will play. No minutes limit there. Bradley out. Lonnie Walker expected in. Rudy Gay questionable. We got Maladon, Williams, Pokusevski, Baisley, and Brown for the Thunder. And I think that's where we're at right now. And LeBron James still out indefinitely. Not what I was looking for from my best ball team, but it is what it is. All right, so let's take a look at the Vegas odds. We're not going to go through each one of these games. Just going to kind of point out a couple of games I think look appealing as far as high totals. So, let's see. Again, Spurs-Wizards is about a 230 over-under. I think that looks pretty solid. The Pelicans-Clippers game's pushing 230. And, let's see. They don't have the Dallas game up, but that game should be projected to be pretty high scoring. And then Denver and Memphis is also close to 230. So, let's now go into the team-by-team breakdown. Real quick, though, I'll ask you guys, if you do enjoy this content, hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. Let's aim for 100 likes on this show. Congrats on the best ball. Hey, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it was, I'm surprised. I'm surprised I'm still alive in best ball. But yeah, moving on to the finals. It's 2 weeks, so we'll see how it goes. All right, so let's start with San Antonio and Washington. The San Antonio side, again, really good matchup here. So the top two guys I think look pretty solid here, DeRozan and DeJounte Murray. Small forward, as always, is a pretty weak position on DraftKings. DeRozan should play about 35 minutes in an up-tempo game. Even at 8-7, I think he's firmly in play. DeJounte Murray for tournaments, do kind of like him just because, again, he should play big minutes, and plus the matchup. So those two look solid. I'm probably not going to get to anyone else on the Spurs. Gay and Lonnie Walker questionable, but don't know if that does a ton. I don't even know if I can get to a guy like Patty Mills, who's been pretty bad recently. On the Washington side, so Westbrook is in. I do think he's one of the better spend-ups. Right, we got him, Jokic, Luka. I think are all pretty optimal spend-ups at the top. Westbrook had a floor game last game that should lower the ownership. Fine, going right back to the wall there. He's one of the best plays of the slate. With Westbrook in, Beal's nothing more than a contrarian pivot in GPPs. I do want to mention Robin Lopez being out actually is pretty significant. He wasn't playing huge minutes, but those 15-ish minutes have to go somewhere. I would guess a lot of those go to a guy like Daniel Gafford. He played 27 the last game. So if we get probably 25-ish minutes out of Gafford, I think he's one of the better value plays at the slate. Now, Washington could troll us. They could go to Alex Len instead, but I think they would rather go to Gafford, who's been playing really well. So Gafford, I actually think, is a really good play, assuming he gets more minutes. And if we get around 25 from him, he is too cheap. So Daniel Gafford is a guy that I think is, again, one of the better value plays at the slate. All right, Atlanta and Detroit. So there's not a ton here for the Atlanta side. Capella as a contrarian spend up is fine. Bogdan Bogdanovic has been running the show. He is priced below 8K. I think he looks intriguing and shooting guard eligible, which is nice. Probably not getting to Collins or Herder. There's not much else here for the Atlanta Hawks for me. Lou Williams is out, but again, Chris Dunn in. So Hawks are a team I don't love. On the Detroit side, there's not much here either. I know Josh Jackson is out. Keep an eye on who they end up starting. But there's not a ton that I love here for Detroit. I'll probably be staying away. If I had to pick one, it would be Mason Plumlee. Again, crushed for a lot of you guys at low ownership that last slate. Again, he's my favorite GPP play that slate. If he plays 30 minutes again, he can definitely get there. Are those minutes guaranteed? No, but that's why, again, he's a good tournament play because when the minutes are there, he'll most likely smash. The Lakers and Magic. So the Lakers side, still no LeBron. Anthony Davis no longer on a minutes limit. Now, what does that mean, right? Is he going to go out and play 38 minutes? I'm not convinced about that. Maybe we get like 34, 33, 34 minutes, which does make him more viable here. Matchup, Magic can't stay with him, so I do think AD is viable as a sped up. Just a little bit worried with how many minutes he actually does get. Drummond, always in play for tournaments. Schroeder at 7K. I expect him to play. He's listed as questionable. Again, do expect him to play. If he does play, he's a fair play in the mid-range. If he doesn't play, then keep an eye on who they end up starting. Like if THT moves into the starting lineup as a point guard, he'd become a value. But not a ton really on the Lakers. And the Magic side, not much either. Cole Anthony is a solid play in the mid-range. Wendell Carter Jr. is going to split time with Mo Bamba. Rather get to Mo Bamba over him. Probably it. Here, let me refresh DraftKings just so I think we have everything up to date here. So Ross and Ennis are confirmed out, but does it do a ton for me? Not really. Like Bacon, viable tournament play. I just don't like playing this guy because he's got to hit his shots. He hit his shots last game, 1 for 32, but he also has a pretty low floor when he's not. Thunder and 76ers. Starting lineup here: Baisley, Brown, Maledon, Pokusevski, and Kenrich Williams. Moses Brown not getting to with no door. I think like the other 4 starters in Baisley, Maledon, Pokusevski, and Kenrich Williams are all solid options. No priority place here on Philadelphia. We're waiting on a lot of news. If a lot of the 76ers guys are in, then like the matchup is a lot tougher for the Thunder. But like if a lot of those guys are out for the Thunder and they're playing a lot of the backups, then I think a guy like Kenrich Williams becomes interesting at 4 or 5. Like he's actually a solid point for a guy who can stuff a stat sheet. So Kenrich would be intrigued by if a lot of the guys on the opposite side of the ball on Philly are out. Let's see. Let me refresh. Do we have any more news here? Still nothing on the 76ers. So 76ers is a little bit hard to say right now. Again, we got Embiid, Simmons, Tobias, Korkmaz, Green, all questionable. Let's just say everyone is out. Then like Dwight Howard becomes a good value. Then we got guys like Milton, Seth Curry, Maxey, Thibault, all become good values. If everyone that's questionable is in, then it's really Embiid for me, and that's about it. So, a little bit hard to say at the moment. Simmons is confirmed in. Okay. I know he was like leaning towards probable. Ben Simmons will play. All right, let's see. We should... With getting that news, we probably get the rest of the 76ers news too. Let's see. Okay, still nothing else in 76ers yet, so I'll keep an eye on that. Let's move on to Cleveland and Toronto. So Cleveland, they are shorthanded. Darius Garland at 7.5. I think actually is a pretty decent play in the mid-range. He has a high floor as well as a high ceiling. We saw it the last game. He should play all the minutes he can handle. So Garland, I actually do think is a pretty solid play at his price. Jarrett Allen had a big game last game. He should play low to mid-30s minutes. I think I would rather have him than Allen just because he has the ability to play more minutes. Harris is in too. Okay. Danny Green out. All right, so the main guys are in. We're still waiting on Embiid. Danny Green being out doesn't do much. Mike Scott being out doesn't do much. Yeah, those two doesn't do anything for me. I'm guessing now we get Embiid news, or we're going to get the Embiid game time decision. Okay, well, I'll let that flow in. So, back to Cleveland. Chetty Osmond started the last game. He's at 3.8K. He played 37 minutes. I think he's one of the better value plays of the slate. Also, he's shooting guard and small forward eligible, which is nice. So, really do like Chetty there. Okoro's going to start and probably play big minutes, but super low usage guy. You can play it. He's like playable, but I just hate playing him. And then like off the bench, and they're missing a lot of guys. So like, does Dean Wade become viable at 3.5? I think that's getting a little bit too contrarian. Like Dotson probably gets some minutes, maybe a Cabangeli, but I just don't know if we have to go there. I think it's getting a little bit too different. Embiid still questionable, yeah. So doesn't do a ton. I'm assuming Embiid plays. I'm assuming he does play. Tobias and Ben Simmons in. So not really on anyone in Philadelphia as long as Joel Embiid does play. Like if Embiid misses now, we could look to guy Dwight Howard. But that's really it for me. All right, so moving on to Toronto. Not much here for the Raptors. Boucher and Trent are out. Doesn't do a ton for me. The main 3 guys are all secondary plays. The Siakam, Van Fleet, Lowry. One of those guys probably has a good game. They've all been inconsistent. Don't want to go there in an 11-game slate. OG a little bit too pricey. Birch probably plays about 30 minutes, but seems priced about right. There's just not much here for the Raptors. Phoenix and Knicks, this will also be really simple for me. Not much here. Crowder and Sarge are out, so I think Cam Johnson is a viable value play. He's played 34 and 33 minutes the last couple of games. Not the best point per guy, but he is cheap. There's not a ton of smash value at the moment. Tory Craig, I think, is chasing, to be honest. If you play Tory Craig, like he's not out of play, but like don't expect anywhere near 41 fantasy points from Tory Craig. Just kind of an anomaly game. I think he's fine. I think he plays 25 minutes and probably gets 15-ish fantasy points, maybe 20. But I feel like that's one where if people are going to chase, I am good going elsewhere. On the New York Knicks, there's really not much here. Tough matchup. Guys seem priced about right. Again, basically staying away from this game. A couple guys in Phoenix are interesting for value, but no standout plays. On the Chicago side, Vooch is a contrarian spend up. Sure. Would rather get to Jokic. Would rather get to Westbrook. Would rather get to Luka at a similar price. So Vooch is a contrarian play. Kobe White in the mid-range is solid. Again, it's a terrible matchup, but he should play somewhere around low to mid-30s minutes. He played 38 the last time he had a good game. So White is at least playable. Daniel Tice for value, sure, is all right. I think I'd rather take the shot in Gafford, though, at a similar price point. All right, moving on to Miami. Again, it's a better matchup here, but still not much that I love. Jimmy Bam's contrarian spend-ups are all right, but again, I would rather get to the other guys that I did mention. Clippers and Pelicans. So Paul George, one of my favorite plays of the slate. Really, really do like him. Should play mid-30s minutes. Going to be the number one on offense. Up-tempo game. Love me some Paul George. Kawhi still out. Kennard out. Ibaka still out. Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson are decent plays in the mid-range. Both I expect to play mid-30s minutes. Both are, I seem priced about right, but at least playable. Terrence Mann at 4.8 also should play some solid minutes. I think he's in decent value play. So like George, Reggie, Marcus Morris, Mann are all in play, but really my favorite play is definitely Paul George at the top. On the Pelicans side, there's not a ton here. I think Zion is contrarian spend-up is always in play. Lonzo's no longer on a minutes limit, so he played 34 minutes the last game. I think he's a fair play in the mid-range. The big news is obviously Steven Adams here. He's currently questionable. If Steven Adams does miss, then there's some value here. Then I think Hernan Gomez and Jackson Hayes become two of the better values of the slate. Would expect them to split their sentiments. Would probably expect Jackson Hayes to start. And again, I would assume we get somewhat similar minutes for both them. And they're both pretty decent point per guys in Hernan Gomez and Hayes. So if there's no Steven Adams, I would really, really like both those Pelicans centers for value. All right, guys, we got 3 games left. Let's see. Do we have any more news? Embiid still questionable. Okay. Where are we at as far as likes? We're at 326 viewers and 79 likes, guys. If you could leave that like button. Let's try to reach 100 likes before the end of the show. It does help me out a lot. All right, so Utah, Minnesota. Utah, Gobert, no thank you. Mike Conley, I think, is my favorite play in Utah once again. Should play low to mid-30s minutes. Played 30 the last game, went for 38 fantasy points. Again, he gets a pretty big boost without Mitchell on the court. So Conley I do like. Joe Ingles was a huge bust the last game, but did play 38 minutes, shot 1 of 9. He's still viable. And then Clarkson off the bench for GPPs is in play. The issue with Clarkson is the minutes haven't been amazing on him, 28 in back-to-back games. And the fact that he doesn't do a ton of the peripheral stats. So Clarkson, more of the tournament play than Conley being my favorite. Bojan had a good shooting game. I don't play Bojan Bogdanovic, too score independent for my liking. And Royce O'Neal at about 5K just seems priced about right. On the Minnesota side, again, Cat, you could always make the argument for is contrarian spend up. Would rather get to those other guys I mentioned. Edwards had a big game last game, but I'll probably pass there. D'Lo, I mean, he has played 29 and 31 minutes last couple of games. If he's going to continue to play about 30 minutes, then I think he's a viable tournament play. Memphis and Denver. So on the Memphis side, it's basically just Ja and JV. Everyone is healthy here. It's not necessarily the best matchup. Ja and JV still upside, but again, they're more contrarian plays. That is it. On the Denver side, I do like Jokic a good amount. Like one of the better spend ups. You got him, you got Westbrook, you got Luka, you got Paul George. Pick a couple of those guys for sure. That's the way you want to approach this slate. Jokic went for 55 in a blowout there against Houston. He has insane upside. I'm not scared of Jonas Valanciunas in the defensive end. Obviously, no Jamal Murray, no Will Barton. Jokic, again, up there with one of the top plays of the slate. MPJ is in play as a contrarian GPP play. Don't love this price. If I'm spending up, I would just rather get to the other guys I mentioned for a little bit more. PJ Dozier's fine play in the mid-range. Should start. Should play about 30 minutes. Did shoot 10 of 13 the last game. Went for 45 fantasy points. 2 blocks, 2 steals. Don't expect 45 again. I think we probably get around 30 and maybe 30 minutes and maybe 25 to 30 fantasy points, which again, I think makes him a decent play, but don't expect 45 again. Aaron Gordon's been super disappointing. Minutes have not been great on him. Campazzo 4.9 feels a little bit too pricey for me. Rivers off the bench, probably plays mid-20s minutes. He can get hot. I think he's an interesting contrarian value play, but that is where I'm at for Denver. Final game is Dallas and Sacramento. This one looks appealing. Probably my favorite game to target. There's a lot of guys that are, now we have more probable. So Luka probable. Porzingis, doubtful. DFS, probable. J. Rich, doubtful. We're still waiting on Kleber, questionable. And JJ Redick, doubtful. So let's start with Luka Doncic. Great matchup. With Porzingis being out, it honestly doesn't give him that much of a boost, but it's still Luka Doncic going up against the Sacramento Kings. So I do like Luka. I think he's still one of the better spin-ups of the slate. Should play big minutes. Again, great spot. So do like Luka a good amount. Dorian Finney-Smith, a little bit too pricey for me. Again, J. Rich, doubtful. So let's talk about Jalen Brunson and Tim Hardaway Jr. So Tim Hardaway Jr. started the last game, played 30 minutes, and in typical Tim Hardaway Jr. fashion, shot 2 of 13, right? He's got that floor. The minutes will be there for him most likely. I expect similar run. If he hits his shots, he can go for 30 plus, but he also has that floor. So maybe not someone to get to in a cash game setting. For GPPs, I do like Tim Hardaway because the minutes and shot attempts will be there. Just a matter of will he hit his shots. And then Jalen Brunson did only play 23 minutes. A little bit confused why he only played 23. I thought we'd get closer to the 30-minute mark. He's a guy that can do more of the peripherals. Like for me, I would rather play Brunson over Hardaway because he just does more of the peripheral stats. But both those guys are firmly in play with no Josh Richardson. I expect more minutes from both. And then Maxi Kleber, if he does played 34 minutes the last game, would be a fair value. If he's out, that is interesting to see what they do. Like maybe Nikola Melli moves in the starting lineup. If he does start at 3.2K, I think he would be one of the better value plays. And then the center position, it's going to be a combination of like Dwight Powell, Willie Cauley-Stein. They can maybe even throw Boban in there for a little bit of run. The issue I have with the Dallas centers is I'm just saying you cannot trust Rick Carlisle. Like don't trust him. I'm telling you guys, Willie Cauley-Stein, the last game that Porzingis went down, played 31 minutes. And then the next night in the same matchup plays 19. Whereas Dwight Powell plays 17 in that spot and then goes out and plays 28 minutes. So they're going to go with the hot hand. Powell had the hot hand last game. Willie Cauley-Stein had the hot hand 2 games ago. Be careful here. Like, yes, I expect Powell to start. If he's going to be super popular, I'm good going elsewhere. I'm just telling you, for DFS, for secondary plays for Dallas, it's always super hard to trust Rick Carlisle, especially when they have a lot of guys they can use, right? They can throw Boban in there. They can throw Maxi Kleber to play small ball 5. Even Nikola Melli, right? They have like 5 bigs they can use. Be careful here with Dwight Powell. I think he might be over-owned. There's a chance he starts and only plays 15 minutes. I would not be surprised. So that is my take on the Dallas bigs. Finally, Sacramento. So De'Aaron Fox out once again. Halliburton, I think, becomes one of the best plays in the mid-range. Played 37 minutes, went for 42 fantasy points. I expect similar run from him. So really do like Halliburton. Barnes, healed. A little bit too pricey for me, but in play for stacking the game. Holmes on a limit, I'll pass. Whiteside did not play the last game. DeLon Wright expected a little bit more run, but still played, again, 27 minutes. He's going to play more the Halliburton role, or Halliburton plays more the Fox role. I think DeLon Wright off the bench, and 25 to 30 minutes is a fair play at that price. Mo Harkless, never a fun roster, but should play about 30 minutes. A low usage guy, but again, there's not a ton of smash value. I could see it into a guy like Mo Harkless. Okay, so let me refresh Fantasy Labs one more time, make sure we're up to date with everything. Yeah, so Rudy Gay and Lonnie Walker both in. Doesn't do much there. Okay, so let's get some questions, guys. We're almost at 400 viewers. Thank you. All right, so Wesco. Yeah, I think Westbrook's obviously one of the better spin-ups for sure. Paul George or Westbrook, point per dollar. Give me Paul George there. I do like both, obviously. Yep. Jokic, PG, and Westbrook, best 3 plays. What do you think? I mean, it's close, right? I think it's Jokic. You got Paul George, Westbrook, and Luka at the top. Like those are the 4 spend ups. You can pick 3 or maybe even pick 2 of those guys, but that's the approach I think you want to take is get at least 1 or 2 of those guys in there. Utility at 3.6K and under. So let me see. So 3.6K. You have the Pelicans centers with Hernan Gomez and Hayes, both at that price or below. If Steven Adams is out, I like both those guys a good amount. You have Mo Harkless at 3.6 exactly. Again, going to play the minutes, but low usage guy. And then probably it for me. Like, I'm just trying to think, like, is there anyone else even down there? Like, Svi off the bench, maybe plays mid-20s minutes. I'll just say there's nothing really I'm confident. I mean, Alex Len at 34, maybe a few more of those minutes go to Len, but I would think they go to Gafford. So You can go, or isn't Tory Craig that price too? Again, that does kind of feel like chasing. He's at 3.5. Playable. Not something I feel super good about, though. Yeah, so Paul George or Luka. Give me Paul George for the discount. Conley, Garland, or Halliburton. I mean, I like all three. Good. I think they're three of the better plays in the mid-range. If I had to pick, give me Halliburton there. Grant or Clarkson. I guess Clarkson, I don't really love either play, though. Lonzo or Cole, give me Lonzo there. What's ideal cash game strategy look like for today? I think pick at least one or two of those guys at the top. You can even get three if you want. Dean Wade for value tonight. I mean, with no Nance, I could see it. It's a little bit risky, but yeah, I think he's at least in play. Conley or Garland, I think it's basically really close. Yeah, I don't have a super strong take. I think that's basically 50-50 for me. I like both a lot. Corey Joseph or Goodwin. I don't think you should play either on this slate, to be honest. Morant, JV, or Bogdanovich. Give me Bogdanovich there. Thoughts on Halliburton's fee, Osmond, Johnson, Ayton, George, THJ, and Jokic. Yeah, so Ayton's not really someone I'm looking to against the Knicks. Sorry, guys. It's going a little bit fast. So, Hero's out. None is out. Does it do much for me? Not really. I mean, Dragic, they've really been taking it easy on his minutes. Unless we get news that, like, Dragic is for sure starting and there's going to be no limit, then he'd be playable. But, yeah, it doesn't do a ton for me. Man or Kenrich Williams? That's a tough one. You know, with the Philly guys in, I don't like Kenrich as much. Or maybe Man. Solomon Hill or Cam Johnson. There, I would rather have Cam Johnson. Thibault or Metu, I don't think I would play either. Again, Thibault with Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris both in. Probably doesn't play much, doesn't play a ton. And Metu, I don't think we have to go to either. Derrick Rose, not for me on the slate. Again, yeah, Dragic is playable since they're missing a couple of guards, but the minutes have been great. If he plays about 30 minutes, then yeah, he's a fair play at 5K. So keep an eye on the starting line. But if Dragic does start, then I think he's viable. Oh, Steven Adams out. Okay, that is huge. That is massive news. Okay, so that changes a lot. Steven Adams being out, we got to circle back now to the Pelicans. Now we see, like, we're talking about like fringe value guys. I'm like, now we got two of my favorite value plays of the slate in Hernan Gomez and Jackson Hayes. Absolutely love both here. I'm assuming Jackson Hayes starts at 3.3K, one of the best values of the slate. And then Hernan Gomez on the bench, I really like as well. Love the Pelican centers now with no Steven Adams. You got those two. You got Gafford. I think now this is setting up to maybe punt both center positions with the value with Gafford and the two Pelican centers. Really, really like both those two guys. Yeah, that's big news. Hernan Gomez. Okay, Hernan Gomez will start for Steven Adams. I thought it'd be Hayes. Hernan Gomez is starting for Steven Adams. So let me circle back here. Yeah, 3.6K. I mean, he's a good point per guy, a good offensive player. I'm assuming we probably get mid-20s minutes from him. Really like Hernan Gomez. But don't forget about Jackson Hayes off the bench, who I think gets somewhat similar run too. So, again, I like both Pelican centers. Maybe the slight edge to Hernan Gomez just because I think he's a slightly better point per minute guy. If you're looking at fantasy points per point per game, 17.3 is composed to 13.3. I just think Hernan Gomez is a slightly better point per minute guy. So give me Hernan Gomez over Hayes, but like both Pelican centers, those two plus Gafford, now two of the best values in the slate in my opinion. DK pumped. Yeah, I mean, that's news I wanted. That's news I wanted based on the build I had. I was kind of hoping Steven Adams would be out. So that's pretty big. Yeah, power forward's pretty ugly. Power forward is a position that, like, I'm not super confident in. There's really nothing at the top I love here. Like, AD is viable with no limit. Mid-range, it's like Marcus Morris is all right. You can go to Bojan, be score independent. Power forward's kind of ugly. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you got Kenrich. You got Cam Johnson. Mo Harkless. It's gross. It's gross. Maybe like Kleber or Kleber if he starts. If not, you can go to like Nikola Melli. But it's not fun, power forward that is. Thoughts on Triple J. Not going to go there at his price. Forward for 4.8K. And you already have Osmond for cash games. Okay, so... mean, I just really don't like playing Reggie Bullock, but he's going to play the big minutes. Maybe just go Bullock. I don't know. It's a weird range. Not a ton I love. Maybe just settle on that and just hope he doesn't kill you. Stars and Scrubs, yeah. I think it's setting up for more of that Stars and Scrubs. Goodwin for value. Only play him if he starts. But again, Chris Dunn is playing, so that's another point guard in there. Beal for small forward viable. Only for GPPs is a contrarian spin up. Would much rather have Westbrook. Brunson still in play. No, I think Brunson's still viable. Like, I do think him and Hardaway play more with no Jay Rich. It's a good matchup. So I think both Brunson and Hardaway are viable. Are you playing Luka? Not sure right now with my build. Again, I usually wait until 20, 30 minutes before, but I kind of have like an idea of what I want to do, and I think I'm going to punt both center positions now with this value. For cash, Ingles, Harkless, and Gafford or Conley, Craig, and Hernan Gomez. Give me the second one there. White or Healed. I'll go Kobe White. Power forward for 5K or below. I think basically the same. It's kind of a gross spot for power forward. Like, I think Okeke and Royce O'Neal are both decent. Okeke should get about 30 minutes. He's priced below 5K. Fair play. You also got Royce O'Neal that should play over 30 minutes in a good matchup. So those are probably the two I would look to, but neither like stands out. Yeah, I mean, I haven't fully built it, but I think that's the way I want to go now. That's value I feel good about. Like the value centers I feel pretty good about. I would rather play Hernan Gomez than Tory Craig, right? If people are going to chase a Tory Craig game, fine. Give me Hernan Gomez over him all day long. DeJounte or Conley, give me Conley there. Jokic is the best player in the league. He's a good player for sure. Fit in Paul George and Westbrook can do it. Keldon Johnson, no thanks. Westbrook, Doncic, or Jokic, I think go with what works. I mean, I don't have a super strong take in the spend ups. I think those three plus Paul George are where you want to look. Will Dunn affect Bogdan? Not a ton. Kendrick Williams, playable at his price since he's starting. Hayes or Gafford, already have Hernan Gomez. If you already have Hernan Gomez, I think you just go Gafford there. Hernan Gomez and Hayes, you can play both. I do think they somewhat split the minutes. Luka or Russ straight up. Russ is going to be more popular, so Russ for cash games, Luka for tournaments. Do you think Westbrook will be lower owned? Maybe slightly. I do still think Westbrook's going to be popular. MPJ, a little bit too pricey for me. Ingles in play. Playable. Would rather have Conley, though. Thoughts on Garland, Halliburton, Chetty Osmond, Cam Johnson, Hayes, Paul George, Luka. Yeah, I think that's a good build. Yeah, again, so like you're using Fee and Craig for value. I would just rather get to the value centers, so I don't love either of those. Like, I don't love those two value plays. Yeah, you guys got the idea. That's kind of the builds I'm liking. Yeah, Ingles or Bogdanovich. Like on the Bogdanovich on Utah, I would rather have Ingles. Even though he had a bad game, I just would rather have guys that do the peripherals as opposed to Bojan, who has to hit his shots. Yeah, I think you could play both centers. To be honest, I do think they somewhat evenly split the center minutes. Luka, Dean Wade, or MPJ and Anderson for GPP. Just give me Luka and Dean Wade and hope Dean Wade plays 20-ish minutes. Who will guard Zion for the Clippers? I'm not sure, to be honest. Let's see. So starting line, like Marcus Morris probably I would say, or Batum when he's out there. That would be my guess. Anthony Edwards in play. Not for me. Matthew with a $5 super chat. Wow, thank you, man. What's up, DK? Power forward for 6,900 and under. Okay, so let's take a look. I appreciate the super chat, man. 6,900 for power forward. Okay, so, probably not get to Love. Probably not get to OG. I think Jeremy Granson played for tournaments. I don't like playing him in cash because he doesn't do a ton of the peripheral stats. If we're talking cash game power forward, there's honestly nothing I don't think I'd play any of these guys for cash games at power forward. But for GPPs, I think the answer would be Jeremy Grant for me in a decent matchup there against Atlanta. Best value play, not center. I think Chetty Osmond looks pretty solid. John Moran or MPJ. Of those two, I guess give me MPJ. Dragic, yeah, Dragic is in play, especially if he starts. Both guards missing there. We don't know that news, but I assume Dragic starts, which I think makes him a fair play. Thoughts on Wright? Again, playable. Should play, 25 to 30 minutes off the bench. Patrick with the $5 super chat. Thank you, man. 6,500 for power forward in GPP. Good luck. Okay, so in GPP power forward, let's see, 6,500. All right, so we're going down a little bit more. So Triple J is at 6,500. He can get it done. He had like a really productive game in 25 minutes. Went for 23, 3, 1 and 1, 2. Like, I don't know if I'll probably pass on Triple J for now. Okay, I think it's Bojan Bogdanovic or Marcus Morris. Bojan, I would say, probably has a little bit more upside when he hits his shots like that last game. But I would say he probably has a little bit of a lower floor. So if you're shooting for the upsides, Bojan, I think the slightly maybe safer player is Marcus Morris, who can do a little more. He's not going to do a ton, but I just think he can do a little more of the peripheral stats. I think upside-wise is probably Bojan. If you don't want to go to a score-independent Bojan, I think I settle on Marcus Morris at 5'9". GPP. Okay, yeah, so I think you go Jeremy Grant then. Guard forward for 5.5K and below. All right, so guard base. Okay, anything but center, 5.5K and below. Probably Dozier. Probably Dozier for me. It's a good matchup. Should play about 30 minutes. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm missing some of these questions. They are coming fast, so I apologize if I can't get to everyone. Jaden McDaniel's been playing big minutes. Honestly, wasn't really considering him. He's at 3.5. Playable, right? A low usage guy, but playable because of minutes. Like, I would say a pretty similar play to like Mo Harkless, right? Yeah, Luka or Westbrook. I think the answer is probably Westbrook in a cash game, but I like Luka for tournaments. Thoughts on Zion? Contrarian spend up would rather have Luka, would rather have Westbrook, would rather have Jokic, would rather have Paul George. Siakam or Randall? Ooh, I don't really like either. I guess Siakam, since it's a better matchup. Hayes and Cam Johnson or Harkless and Gafford. Already have Hernan Gomez. If you already have Hernan Gomez, then I think it's probably the second one then. I think Osmond looks really good, assuming he does start. I don't think we had that starting lineup yet, but yeah, I like Osmond a lot. All right, guys, one more minute, then I do it to hop out of here. So, Rondo available to play. Man, it doesn't do a ton. So last minute questions. How many spend ups? I think 2 to 3, right? I think you get, I would say at least 2 of those guys. Favorite forward tonight on DK. I don't really have one. I think you go with what works for your forward. Forward's weak. I think you just go with what works for your build. Going contrarian with Randall. Okay. It's definitely going to be contrarian. Would you play both centers and play Westbrook instead of Jokic? I think that's slightly more optimal. Now that's not saying Jokic is out of play, because I still like Jokic a lot, but you got to consider the opportunity cost now of, some of the better value plays are at center. So one more $5 super chat here from Tory. Thank you so much. Westbrook, Paul George, Osmond, Grant, Gafford, Halliburton, Hardaway, Hernan Gomez. Should I go Baisley instead of Grant? Struggling with that one. It's close. I think I don't really like that range for forward. It's a tricky one, but I think it's Jeremy Grant for me, because this game should stay close. He should, in a close game, he'll probably play around 35 minutes. I think you just go Grant and hope he has one of his upside games. That's probably like Baisley against the 76ers that it loves. I think I would give the edge there to Grant. Off Goodwin with Rondo in. Rondo is on the Clippers now. Any locks for guys for any interest in the late slate? I think the last game looks good. Dallas and Sacramento, like Luka at the top. Value plays like Hardaway, Brunson. The bigs are playable, but just be careful there. I think I prefer the other value bigs we have now. And in the Sacramento, I think Halliburton looks pretty solid. But that's it for me, guys. I thank you all for checking out the live stream. Enjoy the rest of your day. Keep an eye on this news. Again, it's 11-game slate. Expect the unexpected. We'll probably get some late-breaking news, but we hit almost 400 viewers. For everyone that super chatted, thank you. For everyone that hit the like button, thank you. And I'll be back tomorrow for another live stream, so I will see you guys all then.